Everybody, we are back. It is Taped on Live, Favorite Podcast, Favorite Channel, Favorite Everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at Glen Rockney for Glen, and of course, pandasubs.com. Discount code TDL for 25% off. 25% off, guys. So we are here today doing Friday Night Live. I put free agency bonanza. That's what I put on it. It's a bonanza of free agency. Really deep dive into all the free agency, options the Raiders have. Who can they re-sign? All of those things, and of course, we talk a little bit of draft, of course, because the combine's coming up. So, Glenn, how you feeling, man?
Oh, I'm good. It's kind of that in between time. I always like watching the combine. I don't know, a lot. I had it on, and at this point, like 10 years ago, whenever I don't know when they first started televising it, but that was the first time I was like, man, this is kind of fun. I factor it in less and less every year, though, to what I think about certain players, because I just you get burned by the combine workout. So I'm excited to see everybody fall in love with certain people whose tape isn't really that good. Mm-hmm. But they blew it up at the combine. So that's a lot. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So it's a cycle that happens every year, even though people pretend they're not going to.
Exactly. And it's important too. I think people act like it's not, but it is. I mean, for certain positions, like, of course, the 40 times not important for offensive linemen, right? But the position drills are, and the meetings, of course, and then for the corners, the 40 is like will make or break you where you get drafted. It's going to do the same for some of these running backs. It's going to do the same for some of these wide receivers. I mean, these things are important. Like people try to downplay like 40. You can't judge a guy by his 40 time because there's like one dude who could he's really shifty and he the anomaly. People love anomalies. They love that one person that could just stand out from whatever narrative there is. So, but yeah, it's important, man, as hell. These guys, that's why a lot of guys fuck up because they're nervous.
Yeah. So, well, you see guys like Jackson Dart, right? Jackson Dart's like, I'm prepping to run or like training to run in 4.55 or 4.65 in that range. I'm always just like, well, you're training to run that at the combine. Like your tape is your tape. So I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it's like if I see Jackson Dart run a 4.55, it's like that should come out on SEC tape, getting away from players, which I do think he has some mobility and stuff, but I just laugh that like these people train so hard because why would they train if it didn't matter? You said, I just we're Raider fans, man. Like people that blow up the combine, they used to be automatic picks by the Raiders, so it was always just kind of funny to see how it's factored in, and the media is just looking for something to get excited about before free agency. So the combine's perfect for that.
Yeah. And then like the interviews, the people that they do, during the press conferences are important for them. And of course, the interviews with the teams are important. That's a big part of it. And getting to know the football teams and the Raiders, getting to know some of these draft picks and see what happens with the Raiders at 6. It's going to be interesting. The Raiders are picking high, once again. I mean, they picked high in 2022 and they're picking high again in 2024. And they're like in the middle in 2023. Hasn't been the best performance the last 3 years, so it's been a little bit of a struggle. But the Raiders are still on the up and up a little bit, and you got Pete Carroll, and we're gonna see what happens in this draft.
Yeah, they remember the last time they would have been picking later is when they made the playoffs, but they traded the pick for Devontae Adams that they would have picked later with. So that's kind of funny. We haven't seen them since like Garyon Conley. The last time we saw them pick like kind of in the 20s, actually make the pick.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they traded Devontae Adams, so it's just 22, right? I mean, 22 is gone.
Yeah,
it was for Devontae.
I long for the days where I scroll down maybe 3 or 4 scrolls to get to our pick in mock drafts rather than seeing it right at the top.
Yeah, that is so true. Like having that long instant reaction too, man. You get to go through the whole.
Yeah,
draft.
That's true. Yeah, and the fans care less because you win more. Like they like the draft, but it's not like picking in the top 15. So the instant reactions are always like, "Oh, we'll be good because we got a good system and we're good." People aren't freaking out as much usually. Oh, it'll be great.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it makes it easy for us. I mean, it makes it a quick night. We get his 6. We're just
and
then we talk about the draft pick. Then the Raiders trade back in. I mean, hey, I guess we'll talk about it later. But
no, of course.
You know what I'm saying? So it makes it easy for us. All right. So today we're mostly be doing free agency because free agency is gonna be right after the combine. I mean, the franchise tags are popping up. My dream of T. Higgins is gone. It's gone. It's not happening. So no Josh Allen. He won MVP, so he's not going anywhere. And then no T. Higgins. So
Joe Burrow manifestation era begins today.
The Joe Burrow manifestation era. All right, yeah. You got to switch it up. You got to get to different players here. So Joe Burrow manifestation era is starting here. Next up for the rate. Hopefully, I mean that'd be crazy, but he's not leaving the Bengals. I mean, T. Higgins is staying.
They don't pay anybody. I mean, they paid him, but like he was gonna be. Hey, they had a quarterback retire once, and then the Raiders got him.
Yeah, that is true, man. I don't know. Let's get some of these questions here before we start diving into some of these topics here. So, it's lying season, but Vegas has the Raiders with the best odds to sign Darnold. How much team be willing to spend on him? Can they get the Baker deal, or will he cost more?
It's weird. Wow, it's weird that Minnesota's not franchising him, especially when they said JJ kind of had a setback in his recovery last year, JJ McCarthy. So you'd think you'd want to franchise Darnold for a year. You think that'd be worth it? They're going to let him go. It seems like it's weird. You're seeing Stafford, you're seeing all these names floating around, and I keep expecting them to just be locked up by their teams, and it doesn't seem to happen. Darnold, I don't think it's going to be a Baker Mayfield contract. Baker Mayfield did win 14 games before he went into free agency. Mm-hmm. And Baker Mayfield was, I mean, they're around the same age, more or less, but I just think he's going to get a lot of money. I'm a little more into the idea of Sam Darnold than I think some fans are.
Yeah.
But, just the fact that you can keep your picks and all that. And I think if you front load it for 2 years, right? You front load those first 2 years when the Raiders can eat that with really no problem. It makes sense to do. And then give yourself an out after maybe year 3 or year 4. And then you draft and develop behind him. Maybe this year, maybe not this year. It doesn't matter, but I'm okay with it if they do.
I mean, I'll deep dive into it more when we get to the free agency part of this, but Darnold is just Sam Darnold. That's kind of how I feel about it. And giving him $40 million, it is tough for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's the money. It's not him. It's the money.
But he would be the 16th. He would be the 16th highest paid quarterback in the league if that happened.
Yeah.
It's not that much money in terms.
Yeah. You're right. It's not that much money, but I don't know. It feels like an investment, mm-hmm. and it's just such what I would say a boom or bust. Investment. That's what it is for me. So we're going to give this guy $40 million, right? And he could be terrible. He could be and not even terrible. He could just be like mediocre and frustrating, right? Because that's what I really think he is. I think he's gonna. That's what he would be if you give him $40 million. It's not that he's gonna be awful. Because I never thought Sam Darnold was fully awful. Because I mean, there's some times with the Jets. I mean, I think his second season of the Jets, they had a winning record when he was a starter, like 7-6 or something like that. But it's more like the consistency and what the Raiders can really do with him in the long run is my problem with them. I was like, it's just you're giving all that money and you want him to be the starter. That's the problem for me a little bit. But
yeah, I mean, like I said, I'd say Paul said it's actually the 18th highest paid. If we're sitting at 40, it's actually the 18th highest, and I would think it'd be a 4-year deal. Would be my guess. Would be 4 years, and like I said, you front load the first 2. Yes, it's a commitment, but you figure how long is Pete Carroll here? To develop a guy, you know what I mean? And you might want to get a guy as he's ascending into his prime. His draft class seems to be some late bloomers in there. You know what I mean? Like just, and that seems to be the way to go nowadays with quarterbacks. I know you want to draft them. Everybody wants to look at CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels, but a lot of good quarterbacks are on their second, third home right now. Guys that are Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold for one of them. I know I'm missing some other people too, but just guys that play well, getting out of a certain thing. No one can blame him for stinking with the Jets. There hasn't been a good quarterback for the Jets in a long time. No one can blame, in San Francisco, he didn't start, right? I mean, it's not like he played himself out of a job there. He was just Brock Purdy's backup. And in Carolina, that was a bad team, and they started out 5-0 with him or something like that. I think he's trending upward, and it's not my number one option. I just won't be that mad if they do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad, per se, but I would just like, oh man, I gotta do Sam Darnold for like 2 or 3 years. That's what my feeling would be.
Sam
it's more
Darnold and
about
Chip
that.
Kelly and Brock Bowers. I mean,
Maybe as I'm saying, it might work. It might be just like perfect, but it also he could take 50 sacks, and that's
true.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Well, what do you think about Stafford? I mean, what do you think about Stafford now that apparently they're letting his agent seek out a trade?
Yeah, it's the first, right? The Rams want it first, don't they?
Well, I had heard the idea floated. Again, my dad's a Rams fan, so him and I talk about this a lot. Like he was saying he expects a first to be involved, but maybe not this year's. He would expect, maybe some kind of later round pick this year and somebody's first, which I would do for Matthew Stafford. I would trade next year's first for Matthew Stafford.
I would do that too.
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I would do that. Maybe a pick swap somewhere else or something, but I would pay next year. And then you figure the Rams kind of take a rebuild year. Who knows with McVay? And then they have 2 first-round picks the next year to go do what they need to do. I would do that. Stafford's still very good. I think he's a top 6 or 7 quarterback in the league right now. And I think he has, for the amount of time I expect Pete Carroll to be the coach, I would expect a guy like Matthew Stafford to remain the quarterback, provided that he stays healthy. But it would be the Raiders' job to keep him healthy. And yeah, that's one I would do. The reason I like Sam Darnold is you keep that 6th pick. You're able to give him the things he needs around him if you know what you're doing in the draft room. But Stafford's that pie in the sky. Like, let's go. Let's try to win.
Exactly. If you go trade for Stafford, man, you're really trying to win now. That's a win now move. And I'm with you. Like the first round pick, like I can't give up number 6.
No.
And it kind of goes kind of transitions to this question here. Would you give up number 6 for JJ McCarthy? And that is a no too.
That's a big time no.
Like either one of those for you can't give up 6. None of these guys are worth 6. Like if the Raiders were a playoff team or something, and Aiden O'Connell found some way or whatever, and that scenario happened, then yeah, you trade for Stafford, you give up that number 21, easy. You know what I mean? To me, you know what I'm saying? And that's that's the same with the Devontae Adams trade. You can give up that 22, right? It's not giving up 6. Yeah. So it'll be rough for me if that happened. But I love Matthew Stafford. I was on the Around the Shield podcast. They thought I was crazy. I said he's top 5 quarterback, but
I think so too.
Name somebody better than him after the Big 4. You all know who the Big 4 is. After that, it's the debate. We're debating. So I mean, people will be like, prisoners of the moment and say Jalen Hurts, of course, but.
No, and he's just, the arm's still there. You know what I mean? You're not talking about a guy like Rodgers where you're like, man, his game's just not aging the way that it goes. Stafford could still rip that ball in there. You watch that Vikings playoff game; he was sending it everywhere. I would do that. It sounds like the Giants are kind of in on him, but it's weird. The Giants are linked to Sanders, Raiders are linked to Sanders, Giants are linked to Stafford. So this free agency, the reason we're talking about free agency right now is because you can't really talk that much about the draft until there's some free agent dominoes to fall.
For sure, dude. Which QBs do you think will not throw at the combine? Probably just Cam Ward, and probably Sanders too.
I think both of them will not. I think both of them have an idea of where they're going right now, just because they're the top 2 quarterbacks in theory. I'd like to see them throw. I'd like to see them go out there, but I think both of them. I mean, the problem is are they the number 1? Is either of them the number 1 pick? I don't know that that's a done deal yet.
Yeah, I don't think they go 1.
So then maybe you throw.
Yeah. Sanders isn't throwing. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Maybe Cam Ward does. Sanders is not throwing.
Interesting.
His dad's not gonna let him do it. For sure. He's like, your dad's gonna be like, you're gonna be in the right environment for this to happen. 100%. There's no way. There's no way Deion lets him throw. I don't believe it. Honestly, even though I think he'd look good out there, but
I think he could help himself if he did. I mean, I think if he went out there, interviews well at the combine, throws and stuff, like you might have a team that just goes like, man, I saw everything I needed to see. It might be the Raiders.
Yeah, it could always help in my opinion, but these guys he wants to throw to Shepard and Travis Hunter and stuff. So you know what I mean. Can you make the case for Tyler Show over Sanders? And there's another question: what do you think about Tyler Show? Is he a QB3 in the draft? Can he be a viable starter? Now, I know Tyler Show is getting a lot of buzz because Greg Cosell said he's QB2, right? And to be honest, like based off the film, if I just went like film and I didn't talk about his age, his injuries, or anything like that, I mean, he does have a case to be better than Shedeur Sanders because he's talented as hell. Like he can make every throw. He makes from different angles. His arm strength is crazy. I'm gonna do him tomorrow on the show with Matt because his talent is off the charts, right? Because he can run, he can move, he could mix throws. I'm saying like he does everything on film. I mean, he is a little erratic in times under pressure, but he's 26. He's gonna be 26, man. He's like, so it's like you're a grown ass man playing college football.
Yeah,
you
but Penix, Bo Nix, both put out some good tape. Both kind of looked decent. I mean, I'm not the biggest Bo Nix fan, obviously, but I see there's a lot of buzz around him. I could see some teams not. I think one thing you're going to see this year is I don't think quarterback age is going to matter that much, and I don't think running back positional value is going to matter that much based on what happened last year. It's kind of a reactive league where Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, they make their teams into like superstar teams, or at least good teams that became great. When people were saying running backs really didn't matter, myself included. I also think quarterback age, 26 is old, but like if you're a beast and a team thinks you're a beast, they can still get 13 years out of you. You can play till you're 39. Matthew, we're talking about trading for Matthew Stafford.
I mean, yeah. See, the thing is with older quarterbacks is like quarterback age doesn't bother me as much. It's more about like he didn't play well until he was 25. You know what I mean? Because I see this one guy. Sorry, this one guy who's a Texas Tech fan. He's always telling me like, "Bro, go watch the Texas Tech stuff. He sucks." Right? So it's like, it's more about that with him, in my opinion. Like, where was this before? Like, even if you were at Texas Tech and you had those injuries, right? Like those things should have been there where people are like, "Oh, dude, this dude can play." Right? He lost, like somebody talked about, he lost his job to Anthony Brown.
Okay.
That's what scares me a little bit about show is that it's because the film is really good, man. It's good films, but
I might lose my job to Anthony Brown when he needs to get a real job next year. he might apply at my company. Man, I watched that. The last preseason game was brutal when he was playing.
Yeah, he might. But he beat up Tyler Show.
That's interesting.
So, you know what I mean? Short's wide receiver. He hates Justin Fields. So we'll get to Justin Fields, though. All right. So let's talk about Daniel Jeremiah's mock because said if Sanders falls to 6, other teams would have traded with the Raiders, someone like the Jets, trade down a couple, get another pick in round 2 while still getting a good player in round 1. But I just want to talk about Daniel Jeremiah's draft, right? So at 6, he had the Raiders taking Sanders, right? So the Raiders take Sanders at 6, but did you read it? Did you read it, Glen?
Yes.
Did you read it?
Yes, I did. It was kind of odd to see him do that because he's, anyone who gives, any kind of crap about the draft is going to be looking at Daniel Jeremiah's because he's got his ear to the streets. He knows he knows scouts and he knows all these things. He kind of, is he 100% right? We don't know, but he's definitely the guy when he says something and maybe there's a shocking thing that goes in there, you go, okay, there's something to that usually. Now, Sanders to the Raiders at 6 isn't really shocking at all. I think a lot of fans know that that's there and a possibility, but he did say that he could also see the Raiders waiting till day 2 or 3 for a quarterback. So it's like, to me, why did you make that the pick then?
Yeah. I don't. To me, it was like kind of just penciling Shedeur Sanders in there, and just kind of putting that where it's having all those quarterbacks in there because he did have 3 running backs, which I thought was wild. I mean, he had Trayvon Henderson in the first round. Do you think that's gonna happen,
dude? Because I watched John Gruden's YouTube channel. He thinks. We're talking about a guy that we don't like drafting at all, but like he's saying, he was like, I draft Trayvon Henderson in the first round, and I'm just like, because of what he does in like the blitz pickup game, like he is a complete running back. So I don't know, but I've heard it from a couple people now. I think he's a beast. So I don't know if I would do it in the first round, but if I was picking top of the second with the Raiders and the running back's run starts going, I want to get in on it and not miss out on him.
Yeah, I like Henderson a lot too. I think Henderson's a great back. I do like some other backs better than him, and there's just some other sneaky backs that I really like. But
yeah.
But we'll get into the running backs in a second. But I do like this running back class a lot. This running back class is crazy. So it's there's just dudes everywhere, and it do you take a guy in the first round? I don't know. Am I really missing out if I, get somebody else like later on in the draft?
What do you want out of a first round pick? Like when you draft somebody in the first round, what are you doing? What you're saying, I want this guy to be a starter on my team for 10 years, typically. Yeah. Right. And if you're in the top 10, you're like a starter that's like Pro Bowl caliber. But for the most of the time, how many times are running backs starters for one team for 10 years that are and productive for 10 years? That's the problem. This whole Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry thing that's happening right now, there's a middle ground between they don't matter and we need to pay them. It's kind of like when you draft them in the first round, you're paying them kind of high already because that running back scale is kind of higher compared to what they get on the open market typically. And you're lucky to get 5 years of clean football out of them a lot of times. So that's the thing about when people talk about Gentry at 6, I'm always like, look, I'll probably be ecstatic about it when I see him play on the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Up until then, but then like 3 years from now, and you look at the draft, and maybe some other guys around there were a little bit better. Running backs taken later were better. You're just kind of like, that's why it kind of sucks, because there are obviously guys that put the ball in the end zone and make incredible plays, but are they 10-year starters?
Exactly. I 3 in the first round. I don't know if I want to go back to Trayvon Henderson's film, just because I was, I did watch Chip Kelly's offense, did a breakdown on the running game, or Matt did, but I did watch the running game myself, and I really like what Trayvon Henderson brings to the table. I think he's better than Jenkins. I think a lot of people were expecting Jenkins to be better, but I think
Judkins. Yes, yeah. No. I agree with you though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's better than him, but I don't think he's better than. I mean, I guess because you have more on film from him, like blocking and catching the football, and that's why people are pushing up. But like, is he really better than Caleb Johnson? I don't know that. See that's when it gets crazy with me. Like, is he a better runner? I don't know.
I mean, and Hampton too. I mean, Hampton is a monster.
I think he had Hampton in the first round though. But,
yeah, he should. He should. I mean, but then like you were talking about Jaden Blue today on Twitter, and I like the guy from Rutgers. Mondagai, I think is his name. There's just a lot of really good running backs in this class. Some decent ones on the free agent market too. Where I'm just like, man, if they draft him at 6, again, you have a guy right away that comes out and starts playing good football for you. Typically, I mean, Josh Jacobs was good right away for the Raiders, and he was putting the ball in the end zone that first year. I just kind of, to me, if you're gonna do that, try to trade down, try to get some extra picks, because you're gonna want you're 6 overall. I think you have a chance. You're probably passing on a Mason Graham, McMillan, or a Will Johnson at that point to take this guy. And that's when you have to ask yourself, is that worth it?
Yeah. I mean, take a Gentry at 6 would be crazy. But, I still kind of believe they might take Sanders at 6. I just have that belief in it.
Mm-hmm.
I just see it. But, if they go a different direction, I do think it would be like a corner, or, I think the sneaky one is a defensive end.
Agreed.
Or a crazy one is like Jalen Walker or something.
Nobody's talking about Travis Hunter to the Raiders. That's the thing I don't understand. I could see any team before them picking him, but I could also see them all passing on him. Because one team might like Will Johnson more. One team might like Mason Graham more. Cleveland might take Cam Ward. Cleveland might take Shedeur Sanders. There's all these things. And to me, like Travis Hunter, I saw he's been getting way more buzz for his actual tape. People just saying like in the flats, he's unreal. And I have a feeling Patrick Graham could find a way to have him really play in the flats, like in zone coverage. And if that's happening. And then, on the flip side, we have Chip Kelly. You could like in the red zone or even if you decide Travis Hunter is just your return guy and kicker and corner, just nobody's talking about it. I feel like I've never seen it mocked yet. Maybe it has been, but I haven't seen it mocked yet. But I'm like, why would they pass on him if he was there?
Yeah, because I think the mocks that I've seen, they have him going early, like 2 to the Browns. That's a big one. Him going 2 to the Browns, and Carter first, Hunter to the Browns, and then Cam Ward goes. That's kind of how most mocks are going right now. Some people are being bold and having Cam go to the Titans, but I think Will Levis is a work hard guy, and people don't ignore that type of stuff. But he's a grinder, but so they might give him another chance. But
and it just all depends on how long Brian Callahan has too. Like, so if they told Brian Callahan, like, hey man, like you're our guy for like 4 or 5 years as a coach, like keep building this team. They just got a new GM in too, I think. So I feel like they're just gonna want Abdul Carter or something, or like you said, and then they might. I mean, I think Tennessee's a sneaky Aaron Rodgers team. Like I truly think, because I don't think he wants to go out like that. And I just think Rodgers goes to a place where it's not a big media market. He could be he could be solid there. I just feel like that's a sneaky place for Aaron Rodgers. And that's why with this, when we're going to talk about free agency, it's like this draft might become a lot more clear in the next 3 weeks, when free agency dominoes start falling.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Before we get to the next topic, what question did I leave at? TDL Show. I'm gonna skip this one. But Jermaine Pratt be worth trading for?
What does he go for? What does he go for? I feel
like what kind of a linebacker demanded a trade? Who is Jermaine Pratt? Like, why would he do that?
Well, Ernest Jones did too. I mean, and he got traded twice, I think. Something like that. Yeah, because he got traded from the Rams to the Titans, and then from to the Titans to the Seahawks, and ended up playing well for the Seahawks. So maybe they just do that now.
Yeah, man. That's I don't know about that one. That's type of thing. Like you walked in there and asked me for a trade, I'd be like, oh, whatever, Jermaine. Go work.
Yeah, to me, to me, if I'm the team training for him, what am I giving up? Pick swap in the 5th round? I don't know. I mean, I feel like he's getting paid already, so I feel like he's taking on his money, and the Bengals are doing it so they can pay Jamar Chase and maybe T. Higgins.
Yeah. Go work out, Jermaine. All right. Do you think the UNC running back will be there at 39?
40% chance. 40% chance. I think he goes late first. But I also, you just don't know with these running backs. Like I'll say this, like I could see the 49ers like randomly taking Caleb Johnson. I feel like Caleb Johnson is a 49er running back. Like when you just look at it, he kind of reminds me of Raheem Mostert a little bit. And he, I could see the 49ers taking him over a Hampton, and just for, maybe that they just like him more. And these, some guys might fall just because other teams like other guys more. This is the best running back class I've seen since I've been following the draft.
Me too, man. These guys are nuts. So they are now. So my thoughts on it, I say no. I think Hampton has a huge combine because he's gonna run a 4.4. Like, I don't know how big he is, but he is.
Isn't he like 6'1"? Is he? I thought he was kind of tall. Yeah,
he is a monster. Like, he is just, man, he is crazy. He has the craziest play I've ever seen a running back do. So that's why I think Hampton goes first route, because I don't know how you can watch that play and be like, and bleed in the later rounds. Because if he fell to 39 and the Raiders took him, I'd be ecstatic. I feel like, yo. And there's a couple of things that I don't like about him, that maybe I'm nitpicking, and maybe that's stopping him from being like Derrick Henry or something like that. But if he got better at those things, he might be Derrick Henry,
right?
It's my comp, but for him. But I forgot I gave my comp for him on the show. But man, is he just he's dominant. Like he's a mean guy. Mm-hmm. My worry about him is would he get hurt, because he's so crazy.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing when you take these guys in the first round. It's like it's a tough position to stay healthy at, but again, I think DJ is more. Daniel Jeremiah is kind of correct. I do expect 2 to 3 to go in the first round. So it could be that. I mean, if he's there at 39, I sprint the card in though. I'll tell you that. Much. Like if you draft, let's say you draft.
It's 37. People is it
37? Either way.
I saw somewhere it was 39. I swear.
Okay.
Is it 37? I'm looking.
37 sounds right. Yeah, 37 sounds right.
If people get mad at me, I see them in the comments. It's 30. It's 37. Not. I'm like, yo.
My answer wouldn't change. My answer wouldn't change.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. All right, 37. I'm just gonna go with you guys. You guys are right. You guys are telling me I'm wrong, so I keep saying that word. It's 37. Anyways, all right. Next question, Marcus. Are you having a tall boy? Yes, I am. Just,
There you go.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Same thing do all the time. Do you think Ward is closer to Michael Penix and Sanders' comp is Brock Purdy?
I don't hate those comps at all. I think those are pretty good.
Yeah.
I think Ward's like like Ward to me has like a Carson Palmer ceiling to me. Like he can make obviously a little more athletic and stuff, but like his throwing style reminds me of a Carson Palmer. The ball really gets out of his hand. But I like the Purdy comp for Sanders. That's kind of what I see too, a little bit.
Yeah, I like those comps as well. I mean, I feel like Sanders is interesting because I feel like he's more like I think he's more like a Tua guy. I like Tua with that comp. I'm more there, so but I do like that. Is the pass game stuff actually being on film? My teams might like Henderson over Johnson. I think so. I don't know how you could watch them run the football and think they're the same, but that's my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be there. I think teams' running backs boards are going to look really different. I mean, it's just you're talking about offensive line coach, running backs coach, the offensive coordinators. They're all going to have different things that they desire in running backs. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be certain running backs they agree on, but it just depends on who's picking before you.
Yeah. How good is the Texas DB Baron? DJ had him over Will Johnson on his initial big board. I mean, I haven't deep dive into the corners yet, to be honest, to kind of give you like an answer, but I just bet he's probably more athletic. 100%. I bet that's what it is.
People are hating on Will Johnson, man. I like the media consensus on Will Johnson. It just seems like he's not that athletic or something, but I don't know, man. Anytime I watch 9 picks in college, man, I don't know. I'm a fan.
Yeah. Genty at 6 is growing on me.
Or are you growing on it? I don't know. That sounds like a personal problem, but I would say I wouldn't be that excited. I don't know. But his first touchdown in the Raiders uniform, I'd be really excited.
So. His first 30-yard touchdown, you'd be like, oh, all right, okay.
Yeah, never in doubt.
It could be a fun 4 years. It might be a fun 4 to 6 years here.
Yeah. Exactly. And then look, like I said, you got your head coach Pete Carroll. He's like doing the Magic Johnson "I'm not going to be here" gif in 10 years. So
yeah,
what does he care?
He doesn't care what we think, man. He's trying to win right now.
He's like
with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Spy Tech on the other hand, you want to keep the GM job as long as possible, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. How do they address wide receiver this year? We're gonna get into that with free agency, but the draft is gonna be tough. Yeah, I don't think there's not a need in the draft. I'd rather if we get into the later rounds, I'd rather them take a guard than a wide receiver. It's gonna be tough for me to be like take one of these other wide receivers because the class isn't that good for the Raiders to be like, trying to just steal a guy in the 4th round or something. It's not worth it to me. It's not worth it to me. So,
yeah, yeah. So I mean, the free agent list there is some interesting veteran receivers there.
Yeah. Let's get some more questions, and we'll talk about running backs here. Broke down Tyler Show. I'm gonna do that because everybody's asking me. Because here's another one. What round is Tyler Show supposed to be drafted? I don't know. I think he could probably go second, but who knows? Teams get greedy here, I don't know. Mullings from Michigan. I haven't watched him yet. I haven't got to the Michigan running back yet.
People seem excited about him though in the chat.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about running backs here because I think I can throw out questions. So running back, and then we get in free agency here. Talk about this class and the Raiders when they should take a running back. I honestly think they should. It's tough for me. It's tough for me at this point because it's only like a couple guys that take a 39. I mean, maybe you take Cam Scatterbo at 39 if you feel that comfortable. Maybe Caleb Johnson, of course, Hampton. So I really feel like the Raiders should wait. So what is your opinion, Glenn? What is your opinion on this?
I'm looking at the free agent list. It's not the best thing, and I actually think the Raiders could make a case the Raiders need 3 running backs now. I'd like to leave the draft with 2, but that to me, if you told me it was 3rd and 5th round, I wouldn't hate that. If that's when they took them, that doesn't mean first or second round. Like I said, if a Hampton or someone somehow falls to 37, sorry chat, 37, if they fall to that pick, then yeah, we start having that conversation. But I'm just looking at the free agent running backs right now, and the top of the list you have Aaron Jones. Don't know if I do that. Raheem Mostert, where was he last year, by the way? Guy had 20 touchdowns the year before, and then nothing. Najee Harris, kind of a big no for me. It's not for me. AJ Dillon's interesting because he was coming off an injury. I bet you can get him for cheap. Interesting. Nick Chubb, I think he's going to want a 1-year flyer with a contender. But I would definitely give him that. And then after that, you're kind of in the gig economy. Your DoorDasher is named this, running back, and they just come in for a while. Though I do like J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins would be kind of tight. But, you start getting into like Dearness Johnson, Ty Johnson, JaMychal Hasty, Dare Ogunbowale, Samaje Perine. Again, it's guys, it's not a lot. I would like to sign one of the top 7 guys. And I think taking a flyer on like a Mostert would be kind of cool.
Yeah. See, I think with the signings, it's going to be interesting on offense because I think when I was putting this together, I was like, man, free agency is ass on offense.
It's kind of just I think overall the whole.
That too. I was thinking that too. Like, man, this is gross. Raiders got all this money for nothing. That's when I was reading that stuff.
Our own guys. I think our own guys are some of the best players. That's the crazy part.
I know, man.
Yeah.
It was ugly, but I believe I've been watching Jadon Blue this week, and nobody's talking about him. I saw Daniel Jeremiah talk about him in his little press conference he does, his little phone call that he does before the combine, and I never even heard of him, and he's not even on PFF's like draft board. So I'm like, okay, so I put the tape on, and this dude is like running for like 80-yard touchdowns. He's running routes. He's blocking. He can catch for Texas, and he doesn't have any tread on his legs. Like the most he's touched the ball is 135 times in a season. There's no tread in his legs, right? It's like that type of guy that I feel like you should wait for. Does he have fumble issues? I don't know. You might be right, but his tape was pretty damn good for a guy who was like in a pass first offense who shared the backfield. And like I said, he won't be like, it's hard to say this about like Genty and those guys because they have a lot of tread on their tires, but Blue's not gonna have a lot of tread on his tires. I was watching Hunter from Auburn the other day, and I'm like, this dude can play too. You know what I'm saying? I forgot his first name, but for Hunter from Auburn, number 27, that group can run the damn ball. There's Sampson from Tennessee.
Yeah,
he could play, right? Like that dude is blocking defensive ends. You know what I mean? He could play really well. There's just so many guys. Jacquez Hunter. Yeah, I haven't even got to the Arizona guy. I saw him on there. You talked about Kyle from Rutgers, right? Mm-hmm. He's pretty good back. I wonder how fast he is because he's Big Ten, but
no, but he's looking for contact. He's a fire hydrant. He is short and stout and can pop you. That's what I like about him.
Yeah. He can ball. I didn't even talk about Devin Neal. That's one of my favorite backs in the draft.
Devin Neal's another guy to me at
RJ Hunter.
At 37, Devin Neal, you could talk me into. I wouldn't be that mad if they took Devin Neal at 37.
I wouldn't either.
No, that's that. I'm glad you brought him up. That's the crazy part is he's one of my favorites, and you just kind of forget about him because there's so many guys in this class.
Yeah, there is just so many that if Hampton is a great player, I think Caleb Johnson is a really special running back too. But I think there's some other guys that might sneak through the cracks. Cam Scatterpool, like all these guys.
Ollie Gordon,
Ollie Gordon. I didn't talk about Ollie Gordon, but Ollie Gordon might be in the 5th. We heard about his problem. So
what are his problems? I didn't hear about that.
He has drinking problems or something. Remember we talked about that? I think
perfect town. Come to Vegas. It's perfect. Sobriety town. Yeah.
So
we've never had alcohol ruin a player's life here. It's never happened.
It hasn't happened. So those type of things are, with the running backs, it's just this class is just so deep that I don't know. I don't know, but my dude Dre for sure, he's gonna make me watch Mullings tonight. I feel like I have to watch Mullings.
He might be outside your door right now. You better watch out.
Dre for sure wants me to watch Mullings. I'm gonna watch him. I'm watching Dre.
I'm watching you watch him. So you better, you.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna make sure I watch Mullings because I did look him up. He is 225. So that's what I'm saying, bro. I ain't even watched Donovan Edwards either, who's the other Michigan back. There's just so many of them, dog. Man.
I mean, that's why you got to leave with 2, right? I feel like you got to leave with 2 out of this class. I think we haven't seen a draft like this in a long time because the free agency class is bad, and the best by a long shot, the best position group in the draft is running back. We just haven't seen an offseason like this in a while.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the other one's tight end, which is funny. So the Raiders can't draft tight end, though. You know what I
mean? Oh, you try to stop me. I bet you they will. I bet you they will. Later, you know what I mean? Like late, fifth, sixth round or something. Just, man, 3 tight ends. Chip Kelly thinking. You never know.
Yeah, man. There's just so many running backs here. So let's get to some of these questions. And then we get to free agency, guys. Because we're actually here to talk about. So I see a question that I'll get to in a second. But what do you guys think of the guard James Daniels from Pitt? We'll talk about that in a second. I listed him on there, but I wouldn't mind James Daniels either.
No, not at all. Yeah, Kevin Dodson, I think his name from the Rams, and James Daniel are 2 guys that I'm thinking about bringing in for the Raiders. Definitely, if you want to run that football, they're going to help you.
Yeah. We haven't talked about Rodgers yet. We'll do that in a second.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my prediction is Tennessee for him, so that's just calling my shot there.
Yeah, but thank you, BB Enjoyer, for the $2. So hopefully you get some good BBWs this weekend.
They're out there.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're on the prowl. You know what I mean? All right. We talked about Judkins and Henderson a little bit earlier, but like I said, I really like Henderson. I think first round is. Do I think he's better than Caleb Johnson? No, but I'm gonna go back and watch the film a little bit.
How's Caleb Johnson in pass protection?
He could block. I just don't know if he can catch or not. I know Henderson can catch.
That's the thing is you're talking about a guy, Travion Henderson. You might not have to take him off the field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If Caleb Johnson is catching everything at the combine, then yeah.
Would you be scared? Would you be scared if Kansas City drafted Travion Henderson at the end of the first round? I'd be a little scared.
I'd be a little nervous.
Yeah. So he might be a late first round pick.
He might. Will they do that to do it? Hilaire though, Edwards-Hilaire. You think they'll do that again? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's true. But Edwards-Hilaire didn't have any thump to him, man. That was always his problem. He didn't have any thump to him. And Travion Henderson, he can mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. People are making fun of me about the T Higgins dream is gone. I would talk about T Higgins, but it's that dream.
Josh Allen to T Higgins. Just think about what that could have been next year. Josh Allen in Vegas to T Higgins. Big taped all eye logo at midfield.
the Dream Raiders scenario right there. Dream taped all eye scenario. Good late round corners. I talked about it last time. Like Thomas from Florida State is a good player.
Yeah, sure.
I really like the dude from Kentucky. I can't remember this guy's name, but I remember the guy at the Senior Bowl that played really well. A guy from Kentucky. He played pretty damn well at the Senior Bowl. Couple of guys. I mean, I haven't deep dived in that position because there's 800 great running backs that I watch. I've literally watched 15 of them, and I still have like 10 to go. There's so many good ones, man. It's crazy. All right. Let's get into free agency, man. Let's transition here because I saw the question here on a scale of 1 to 10. I missed it here. Oh, it did go away. Where'd it go? Anyways, I lost it. But he asked the scale of 1 to 10. How sad are we if we give Sam Darnold $40 million a year? So we're gonna get into free agency. That's the transition question, right? But let's start with the re-signees, right? Let's start with the Raiders free agents. So I put Divine Diallo last because I didn't want to put him on here, but I was like, they might re-sign him, so I guess. But I mean, Gus Bradley, Pete Carroll, maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is the one thing about Divine Diablo is he kind of fits that rangy I mean, that's the thing is like he has the ability to be rangy. Is he rangy? I just don't think he is.
Yeah,
So I mean, he just kind of sucks. I don't know. Like he was my surprise cut option last year. I didn't see anything. Yeah, it's weird as a pass rusher. I feel like they got to find a way to get him to like blitz more often because he can get there sometimes, and you're like, whoa, that's where I want to see him.
Yeah.
Like I don't think off the ball linebacker. I just don't think that experiment's working. And oddly enough, he was a safety in college. You know,
Yeah.
You don't see any of the safety instincts in him.
Yeah, you thought he'd be able to cover somebody.
You can't cover somebody, and you're not really that good of an open field tackler. So you're just like, well, other than that, are you just a safe person? Is that what it is? Like you're just a rather safe guy in real life? I don't know. Safety. I don't see it. I just don't see it.
I don't see anything. All right. So let's start here because how do you think Carroll will feel about retaining Morag? Right?
Yeah,
Morag here.
They're gonna.
I'm gonna tell you guys right now, nobody on the Raiders is getting franchise tag. We talked about this on the other podcast. No offense, but I'm not giving Robert Spillane $27 million.
$27 million.
Yeah, that's the franchise tag for linebackers.
Yeah,
the franchise tags are crazy, Glenn.
What?
Like quarterbacks 42, right? Safeties 20. So if you wanted to franchise Trayvon Morgan, you have to give him $20 million. Defensive ends 25. So if you want to do Malcolm Kuntz, you got right here $25 million. You got 25. and if he's like, I'm a linebacker, that's 27.
Is that a players' union thing to get more extensions?
I don't know.
Yeah, like I feel like the players' union is like, hey, jack up the franchise tag so they have to re-sign us for 4 years. Like,
Somebody said Epps is a free agent. I don't think he'll sign him. Marcus Epps. So
Mike Epps?
Marcus Epps.
No. I mean, I'd rather have Mike Epps. Yeah.
I didn't get another safety. I didn't do safeties, which I saw somebody say Javon Holland, and I was like, man, I should have did safeties too, but I didn't do safeties for the list. The linebacker tag is crazy. I'm telling you. So
that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, defensive tackle is 24. Because if you wanted to tag Nate Hobbs, right? You're like Nate Hobbs is slot corner. You can't do that because that's $20 million.
Interesting. Joseph did add some context to that. Yeah. Linebacker tag includes edge.
Yes, it does.
So that makes it okay. That's stupid though. They need to not do that. Like they need to if we're gonna do this hyper contract stuff, you need to differentiate from people who rush the passer and people who don't. Yeah.
They're crazy, bro. So the Raiders are not tagging anybody. Let's start there. But let's just start at the top. Talk about Trayvon Morgan a tiny bit. But Robert Spillane, do you keep him?
I think they will. It's weird. Robert Spillane's metrics are really good. He's obviously well liked on the team. There's just like times I kind of wish he was just a little better sometimes, and I feel like maybe I'm just getting greedy as a Raider fan because he's easily the best linebacker we've had in quite some time. Yeah, sure. I guess you do. I guess you do. I don't know. I never seem to get that excited about him on the field, except for a couple that interceptions. He's had a couple nice interceptions, but yeah, I don't know. I guess you do though. And you're keeping Patrick Graham. I would say if you were switching defensive coordinators, I would be like new guy with a green dot. But I'd love to go take a stab at like Dre Greenlaw. You know what I mean? Like Dre Greenlaw wants to go be a green dot player somewhere. I'm like, man, he's so athletic, and the Niners defense was like changed when he was on the field, like completely. And when he was off the field. But I guess they will bring back Robert Spillane. Why? Especially with how bad this free agent class is, I expect a lot of these guys probably to come back. Yeah,
they might bring back Spillane. It just depends on the price that Spillane wants. But the thing is, I think people saw that the Spill track and they had him like at 10 million. I just don't see him getting more than 5. I'm keep it
5 a year.
He's a linebacker. I think linebackers don't get.
Oh no, I think he's gonna get 10 to 12.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Maybe with the cap.
Absolutely.
He's 30 years old too. And I will say this: in 2023, he was good. This year, I think he was average, right?
So I think he gets pushed back a little bit. Like I just see like average. Yeah, like that's the thing is you know what though? Like this is one of those things where like I guarantee you, if you're bringing back a bunch of these guys besides him, you kind of have to bring him back, right? Because like he's the leader of those guys. So it's kind of how many. If you're not bringing a lot of these guys back, then let Spillane walk. But you don't bring back a bunch of these guys and then bring in a different green dot guy. I mean, maybe you do, but it doesn't seem like that's usually the plan.
Yeah. Someone said Pete's gonna call up back Bobby Wagner. I mean, Bobby Wagner needs to retire. Bro.
He's an outside guy too, right? I know.
Bobby's inside, but he's still good though. He is. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Bobby Wagner's still good.
He is really good.
He just can't cover like he used to. So because he's like the ultimate cover linebacker. Like he's like the definition.
Yeah. He was Fred Warner before Fred Warner.
Exactly. It's like, but he can't do that anymore, but he still plays a run just as well as he ever did. So he used to do both. Like he used to be crazy at both, but now he's just crazy stopping the run.
Yeah.
So that it wouldn't be like a bad signing, but it's just like,
What would you say to a Robert Spillane 3-year, $27 million deal?
3 years, $7 million.
No. 3 year, $27 million. So $9 million a year is what I'm kind of splitting the difference between our two takes.
I mean, that wouldn't bother me.
It's not that bad.
I like 2 years. I would like 2 years with Spillane. I couldn't go 3.
I think you're gonna have to beat a team like a Kansas City or a team like a Denver or somebody that might. Like, sad part is I feel like he's gonna stay in the division if he goes somewhere. I don't know. He just seems like a guy that'll stay in the AFC West and haunt us too.
Like they leads the league in interceptions or something.
Some weird picks us off in like a big game. I was like, I don't know. And Spillane is the guy I'm the most conflicted about out of any of these guys.
Yeah, for sure. I agree because he, like I said, he was good in 2023, 2024. It's like, so like there's some games he's good. There's some games he's I don't know. All right, Trayvon Moehrig, they got to re-sign him. So I there's really not really a talk for me. Like he just came off his best season and he's young. Like please don't be stupid, Raiders. Please don't be stupid. That's one of these things is like, why doesn't he have a deal already? In my opinion, I think this should be figured out right now before free agency even starts, before we get to March.
Mm-hmm.
They need to re-sign him just because he had his best season and he's young and he's a homegrown guy. Like they got to get that done. I don't know.
I agree, and I want him back on the team. There is a case to be made. It's not a case I would make, but there is a case I've heard fans make where a lot of people say, well, year one, he was covering. Or not covering, but, a little more rangy, free safety. Now he's kind of doing a less valuable thing, which I don't agree, of like kind of being a little more downhill. Box stuff, where they think his price tag is going to be paid among the top safeties for maybe doing a job that's not paid that high. But to me, I'm like, with this defense, you're going to want that physicality with a Pete Carroll defense. And Merrick does, especially as a pass rusher, man. Like when he blitzes, it's crazy. Like his movement, and he's able to like, I mean, you guys have done some breakdowns on him, like really being like a nuanced rusher. It's like kind of interesting. And I re-sign him. I do. I really do. If you ask me to pick between Robert Spillane and Trayvon Moehrig, you can only sign one. I would pick Moehrig personally.
Yeah, me too. Somebody said Javon Holland is better than him. I don't know if he was this year. Was he?
See, I haven't followed.
I mean, by name he is. I mean, like,
yeah, he came into the league hot like Trayvon Moehrig did. Came into the league kind of hot, and Moehrig was a Bear, or no, I'm sorry, Holland was like a Bay Area guy. So I remember being kind of like tuned into like what he was doing. I didn't notice how he played last year, so I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, but like I don't. I like Moehrig. I think,
and he's already here. There's continuity. You know what I mean? It's not just this. I mean, so do they play the same style? Him and like, or is it like, could they? I would be spending a lot at safety, but like, you couldn't picture both of them coexisting on a field. This is an honest question. I don't know. Like, or do they both do the same thing? Kind of.
No. Since the thing is Moehrig can play free safety. So if you sign Javon Holland, you could actually just switch them back and forth. I mean, because Holland can play in the slot a little bit. Somebody asked that question, but Holland can't play in the slot. He did in college a lot. So he could play there. So you can mix him around and they can play together. So like, it's really not a thing of like, you have to get rid of Moehrig because Moehrig could do both. Right. But I was looking like on PFF, he's a 6 rated in like run defense. He had 2 sacks. Like, so he could play box and then you could have him and Holland could switch. They could play together, so it's not really that crazy. Especially today's NFL, there's not really like a Jamal Adams box safety,
right?
Yeah, you know what I mean,
right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. People are like, Morey can't fuck with Holland. Like that's I don't know. Coming out, I think it's a lot closer than.
And Merrick's what, 25? He's young, right? Like he's a little bit younger. I think he's 25 or 26 right now. Like he's so you'd effectively be signing him through his prime.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't watched Javon Holland to be like, oh, he's better at it. And I don't know if I mean, NFL Pro is out there, so I'm not gonna say that anybody just deep dive in the film. That's true analysis of why they're better than the other, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But they can play together, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like you can still get Trayvon Morey is not stopping you from signing Javon Holland.
That's what. Maybe it is though, because are you spending double-digit millions on your safeties?
I mean, the Raiders have like 118.
Oh, I know, but you give each guy a 4-year deal, and then you have a Brock Bowers extension coming by that time. They're just done. It's not that they can't. I just was asking on the field, does it work? I was wondering, if anybody's going to do it, it'll be a Pete Carroll team, right? To have two safeties that just dominate like the way that they did in the past. But I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against doing that. And, there's a decent chance maybe Javon Holland grew up a Raider fan too. You never know.
Yeah, maybe. All right, let's talk about these defensive line together. So Malcolm Kuntz, Chason, and Adam Butler. What are your thoughts?
Man, it's interesting. I don't know what Butler's market's going to be because he had a very good season last year. I think the Raiders are going to need to get a true nose in the draft this year. Just a big space eater, I think. And that's not really what Adam Butler does. And then you think, okay, how much is this new, not new staff, but how much is Pete Carroll and John Spytek going to look at Laulu's film and say, wow, hey, we might have found something here. Maybe we can let Adam Butler walk. I just wonder what Adam Butler's contract looks like. Now, I'll tell you my thing about Kayvon Chason and Malcolm Kuntz. I signed them both.
Yeah.
And here's my thing. I wonder, what if Spytek and Carroll are like, Tyree Wilson is ass? Like, what if they just say that? Because I could see them thinking, nah, there's something there. We like this guy. But when I hear Max Crosby go on interviews, he never talks about Tyree Wilson as part of this D-line group. Like, it's weird. He's like, they talk about Adam Butler, Kuntz, and all these guys. He didn't really mention Tyree a whole lot. So I'm wondering, like, is Tyree that well liked? I think Tyree Wilson will be on the trade block this year. And in that case, I bring back Chason, who is entering his prime. He's very young and had an excellent second. Yeah, I thought he was the best defensive player on the Raiders win towards the end of the year. I just thought he was dominant. And I signed both those guys, and Adam Butler's the guy I think about letting walk, maybe, because I feel like somebody's going to pay him a lot of money.
Yeah, I see. I don't know if I told you this or I told Matt. I think Chason gets more money than you think.
I think so too.
Because edge rushers are overpaid. They are, and he had
I
5
think
sacks.
He gets about 12 mil. I have him about 12, 13 mil a year. It would be my guess.
Exactly. So, and then, I think Kuntz fits more what Pete Carroll likes the defensive line, if they're going to pick one. Because, I mean, Kuntz was drafted by Gus Bradley, right?
Well, Ziegler.
But
or was he Ziegler or was he Gruden?
No,
he was last year.
2021.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And have the coverages changed? Yes. Have their defensive line point of view? No, it hasn't. So I think Kuntz is a fit for what Pete Carroll does. So that's why I think they would, if they had to choose between the two. But it all depends on what Chason gets, man. If Chason is overpriced, I say just let him go get his money, let him go get paid. Mm-hmm. And you have Kuntz, and then you kind of fill it in from there. But it all depends on what Chason wants. Adam Butler is interesting because I think you get Adam Butler for like $3 million. I don't think Adam Butler is going to get a lot of money.
You don't think so? See, if he doesn't, then it's a no-brainer to bring him back. But I just wonder if their plan is to go get like a Mason Graham, because defensive tackle is not as deep as running back in this class, but I would put it right at second behind the running back as far as the deepest part of the draft class. Mm-hmm. And I think Butler's the one. Like, to me, I find a way because like, what is Malcolm Kuntz's market, right? Like, yes, edge rushers get overpaid, but guys that came off an ACL after having a good second half of 2023, what's his market truly right now? I mean, there would have to just be a couple of teams that are like, no, this guy's a stud. Like we love this guy. Would you be comfortable, like saying, trying to find a trade partner for Tyree Wilson and then giving Kuntz and Chase on both double-digit millions a year? I would probably. I just watched the Eagles dominate the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and the only time the Raiders have beaten the Chiefs is because that was when they got pressure on on Mahomes. It's the only time we see Mahomes look human is when he just gets his ass kicked by defensive lines. So I probably would invest that in those guys.
Yeah.
It's a tough call. The defensive line is a tough call.
I think Adam Butler's gonna be cheap because somebody said he had 5 sacks last year. I know PFF rounds it up, but he had 6 sacks in 2023 too. And what did they get him back for? Like nothing. I think they get Adam. That's why they can sign Adam Butler. I think they can get him for pennies because he can't play the run. So.
Maybe you draft a Kenneth Grant or something, and then your defensive line is complete. At that point, if say you bring back all three, because that's the thing is like you look at the rest of the free agent class, it's just not that many guys that like I have to have. So I'm it's weird. We're talking about a team that's picking 6th overall, but there's a lot of guys in the defense I want to bring back. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. All right. Last guy, and then we get to the other free agents. Jordan Meredith.
Well, we skipped over Nate Hobbs.
We did. Oh, my bad. Nate Hobbs. That's a big deal.
Nate Hobbs. Big deal. I'm not as big of a Nate Hobbs fan as everybody else is. I feel like I think he's hurt all the time, and I wouldn't pay him double-digit millions. But Pete might love him. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. To me, Nate Hobbs is interesting because they let Nate Hobbs go. I think Will Johnson becomes a huge pick because I think Will Johnson is him on steroids.
Mm-hmm. So,
if the Soviet Union was ready to battle the slot corner and they needed to rebuild Nate Hobbs, it was Will Johnson. I'm being honest. Like he does everything that Nate Hobbs does, but he can cover better. So
yeah,
that's my thing. Like if they let Nate Hobbs go, that tells I think I'm gonna be like, okay, maybe they really do like Will Johnson at 6. So I think the combine is gonna play a huge part in that. They're gonna interview that dude. But man, it depends. I mean, they might bring back Nate Hobbs, but like I said, somebody said it depends on the price.
I think he's 15 mil up a year. That's just my guess. And that's what I mean. But if you look at the corners, right, in free agency, because it's not about how good you are, it's about the year you're a free agent. That's how Kirk Cousins. Yeah. That's why Kirk Cousins is making it's like Jeff Bezos right now. Like Carlton Davis, Charvarius Ward, DJ Reed. Like to me in free agency, I go get a DJ Reed. I let somebody insert cornerback here, but you have Byron Murphy, Charvarius Ward, DJ Reed. I know this isn't the same position, but I feel like I would rather spend that money on like a good cover corner. Whereas Nate Hobbs just feels like this like kind of like gamer playmaker guy, and he's hurt a lot. I don't see him getting healthier, and he the way he plays doesn't lend himself to a long career, or at least being out on the field a lot. And it's going to hurt a lot of fans because he is a fan favorite, and he is a stud, man. Like he is a good player. They made the worst coverage unit in the league last year per PFF, and you can argue all you want with PFF. I don't think anybody thought it was a good coverage unit though. And to me, you have Jacorian Bennett. That's a guy I keep around. Jack Jones, I know a lot of people are down on him, but I would like him as part of a secondary, maybe not a starter. Yeah. And then you can go attack it in with a DJ Reed, and then Will Johnson's still in play. I would like that secondary a lot more if that was the case. And like I said, Ward is coming off a very tough personal year. I'm not saying you ever get over what he went through. For anybody who doesn't know, he lost a child. But he's a good player. You know what I mean? Like he's just a good player. And I don't know. I just with Nate Hobbs, you just hear about all this stuff about how great of a teammate he is and all that. But when I watch him play, it's just like I don't know, man. Especially I've seen him play under Patrick Graham, and I just don't feel like I have to have this guy at a high price tag.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Nate Hobbs could be tough. He's gonna be tough. I think it's more because he's a fan favorite. Fans love some Nate Hobbs.
I mean, look, he was a great 5th-round draft pick for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is the transition tag for a safety? I think we talked about that. $20 million.
Oh.
Is Ward still good? I mean, maybe.
I think so. I think, yeah, like I said, I mean, you lost a child last year, so it's like I wouldn't, and you know, he wants to just get out of the Bay Area because again, you don't want to stay in that place that incident happened. I think this is a good media. I take a chance on it, but I think DJ Reed was drafted by Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
So DJ Reed, I think, is going to be a Raider. That's just my prediction. He's going to be around that $12-13 million range. He had an okay year with the Jets last year, but I think they had some turnover. Their Jets defense tanked the minute they fired Robert Saleh. Bad year. I think the Jets last year was a wash. Personally, I'd like to see him in silver and black next year.
Yeah. Did you hear Alexander's a free agent? I did not see him on there.
Yeah, but what is that guy's deal, man? That guy seems like he's just a head case to me.
How did I miss him on the page?
I think the Packers still have to make a move on him.
Is he a fully free?
He's not a full free. I think it might be rumored that they're moving on from him, but he is not on the. I'm on over the cap free agency right now. I'm not.
Okay. I was like, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
All right.
You have Carlton Davis, the top free agents on over the cap. You have Carlton Davis, Travarius Ward, Jonathan Jones, DJ Reed, Byron Murphy, Kendall Fuller, and yeah, I mean those are the guys.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into these other NFL free agents, right? Let's get into that. Because I didn't see any really questions. Ask your questions, guys. We'll talk about all the corners here. We're gonna go over corner. So we're doing corner, quarterbacks, running back, wide receiver, linebacker, guards, and defensive tackle. I thought I saw safety. I should have did safety, but we'll see. I mean, I feel like they'll be fine at safety to whatever they want to do. But let's start at quarterback, right? Let's start at quarterback here. So yeah, Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones. These are the best quarterbacks I saw. I don't know. Maybe somebody else wants somebody else. I don't know. You guys tell me if there's people I missed on some of these lists.
Well, let's add Stafford in there just as a pipe dream. Let's just say we'll put Matthew Stafford there as a pipe dream. But the price for Matthew Stafford will be a first-round pick either this year or next year. So,
all right. So we talked about Sam Darnold already a little bit. Sam is going to cost a lot of money. I think Sam would be. He's like I say, he's boomer bust. That's my problem with him. Aaron Rodgers is a big no for me. I just don't.
We don't need that. That's Antonio Brown. That's got big time Antonio Brown potential in Vegas. No.
I do want him. I want to see him answer Hondo Carpenter questions.
Oh my gosh, dude!
That would be my highlight of Aaron Rodgers. I want him to be with Hondo, and Hondo asking Aaron Rodgers questions during mid-season, like after a loss. That's the only reason that I would want Aaron Rodgers here.
I don't know. To me, it's Darnold and Fields. I know some people are talking about Russell Wilson like he's actually pretty good or something. To me, like Justin Fields, the Steelers were a winning team with him, and they just decided they wanted Russell Wilson the minute he got healthy. And I'm not as opposed to Darnold or Fields the way a lot of fans are. I understand the arguments against them. This is not I'm not going to, die on a hill or anything. I just think any way you're able to get a competent starting quarterback, I think Sam Darnold is a competent starting quarterback. I think Justin Fields is a competent bridge. I think both of these guys are better than the Jimmy G Gardner Minshew thing. I know that's not saying much, but I was miserable when those happened. People that would be miserable for these, I'm like, some of you guys were a little excited about Gardner Minshew and some of that. So I don't know, but they're young. You might try to squeeze a little bit. Justin Fields is a really limited investment. Like you're trying to get through the next 2 years with Justin Fields, and then maybe Chip Kelly unlocks something in him, and you're like, wow, I found my franchise quarterback. I just want something that allows us to keep the 6th pick, because I think I know people talk about how bad this draft class is. They could find a blue chip player in this class, and I'm not willing to pass up blue chip talent at any other position right now for really any quarterback on the market right now.
See, I'm not the biggest Justin Fields fan either, but I think Chip Kelly is.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't talk about this, but he is a little bit of a quarterback wizard.
That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah.
And I think he can make Justin Fields look good, better than what he looks like right now. Right. I think he can do that. I mean, he had Mark Sanchez looking like he could play football, and people don't talk about that enough. But he literally had Mark Sanchez looking like he was competent, and Mark Sanchez's best stats as a quarterback over Chip Kelly. So Chip Kelly has done a lot with piss poor quarterbacks, and he's gotten the best out of the quarterbacks he has. He always had pretty good stats. I mean, Nick Foles, who had 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and we know Nick Foles, and I know he won the Super Bowl, but he's not that type of guy that is special or anything like that. But he got the job done. I mean, he threw 7 touchdowns against the Raiders that one day with Chip Kelly. So that's why Justin Fields wouldn't bother me that much, just because Chip Kelly's here. Like, if it was anybody else, I'd probably be like, oh man, what the hell? This is Chip Kelly. I'm like, yeah, maybe that might work. I don't know.
Well, let me raise you the same question though. Like, what makes you? I understand you've already said you're concerned about him in terms of the money or the commitment or stuff, but don't you think Sam Darnold could get elevated by Chip Kelly as well?
I think so, but
he fits that Nick Foles mode a little bit more than Justin Fields does.
It's to Sam Darnold, see, the thing is, Justin Fields takes a lot of sacks too, but sometimes he's gonna run for like 80 yards if he's gonna get out of a sack. Like Sam Darnold, this could be games he's just going to the ground all game, and if the Raiders line gets hurt and they don't have a lot of depth there, that's my problem with Sam Darnold. I think Fields could deal with it a little better if the line went wrong. If I had to just kind of be a devil's advocate here with Justin Fields over Sam Darnold, even though I think Sam Darnold's better than Justin Fields. I'll start there. Okay. Sam Darnold is all about the money. You know what I mean? I'm not paying Justin Fields $40 million. That's the thing. But I do want to say Sam Darnold is better than Justin Fields. But
yeah, you just couldn't see one of those 30 and 32 and 5 years out of him, like in terms of touchdown to interception. I could see it.
I don't know. He's just Sam Darnold. I'm scared of Sam Darnold because I'm a Raiders fan. That's why.
Yeah, sure.
100%. If I was if we were I don't know, a team that had a good history of signing a guy like Sam Darnold and him being good, I would feel better about it. But it just doesn't feel good. I don't like it because it just feels like it's the Raiders. It might turn into disaster. I guess it's too much losing lately for the Raiders to have faith in Sam Darnold to come.
True, but I mean they brought in the staff. You got to take advantage of the staff that everybody's raving about, and I look, I've been saying it. I guess the chat's warming up to it because I used to get killed for this on the show. But Daniel Jones reclamation project, not investment money wise, but just having him in Vegas on a 1-year whatever $1 million deal. I don't think it's going to be very high. His stock's never been lower. So having him on and to be honest, I can actually see Minnesota keeping him, to be honest, Daniel Jones, because if you're going to do the JJ McCarthy thing, you might just have Daniel Jones there as the bridge for JJ to get healthier. But I would just, Daniel Jones is another guy. If it's 1 year, $8 million or something like that, and then you're going to draft Shedeur Sanders, you just know you're going to. All right, I wouldn't mind having that. Yeah. I don't know. To me, I just every time I see Sam Darnold, I know the limitations, but there's a big arm. There's something, there's something there. It's not Gardner Minshew. There's a lot of people saying he's Jimmy G. That's not true. It's just not true. Jimmy G has a horrible arm and gets hurt all the time. Sam Darnold made 17 starts last year for the Vikings, taking all those sacks. As dumb as that sounds. And he's getting better every year. So I don't know. To me, I actually kind of expect them to sign Sam Darnold, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I do think Daniel Jones is a sneaky one. I do think that's a sneaky,
Yeah.
That would piss Raiders Twitter off.
Oh, they'll get so mad. And people will make memes of it. And I'm like, dude, Daniel Jones. And again, it's not the player. It's how much are you investing? He's a 1-year deal guy. So you're getting a 1-year deal, and let's say you're going to draft a quarterback this year. You're like, you know what? We're leaving the quarterback class. We're leaving this draft with one of these quarterbacks. They have their guy. Perhaps it's Sanders or something. I don't mind Daniel Jones on the roster at the same time with that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on. Here to the next position. Running back. I couldn't find any. You named them all earlier. Like these are the guys I was like,
Jordan Mason's interesting. I didn't see him on that list.
Yeah, this is my interest. Yeah, I saw this and I was like, you know what? He's like $2 million. That was the one I really liked. Jordan Mason.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Do some outside zone, pay like $2 million or something for Jordan Mason. Then maybe maybe you could wait a little bit to get a running back and you could fill in at defensive tackle because maybe you feel Jordan Mason could become that guy. And maybe you re-sign Sincere McCormick and add those things like that. But that's what I'm saying. Jordan Mason is somebody like that. I see somebody talking about Emmanuel Wilson. I mean, that could be an option too. But yeah, with running back, I mean, there isn't really anything there for me. I couldn't.
I would love to see them. I'd love to see them go get Nick Chubb, though. I'm telling you, Chip Kelly and Nick Chubb could go crazy. Like I feel like Nick Chubb is coming off that catastrophic injury 2 years ago. That's the best time to sign these guys. By the way, you didn't put Kirk Cousins in your free agency signings. I was just thinking about that. Kirk Cousins is an option. Kirk Cousins is a Chip Kelly-ass quarterback. NFL.
Kirk Cousins is done, bro. He needs to retire.
I don't think so.
I think he needs to retire. That's what I would say after watching his film this year.
Well, he was hurt. He was coming off an Achilles. You get him the next year. The reason I brought him up is because the catastrophic injury the year after is a wash usually. And that's why I'm saying that with Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Right? Like last year is a wash with Nick Chubb. I kind of go back to the well and see like, all right, do you have in a backfield of a 3-headed monster backfield, can you be, productive? I like J.K. Dobbins too. A lot. Javonte Williams has never done it for me. Every time I watch him play, I'm like, well, what do people see in this guy that I'm missing? But I like Mason, Dobbins, and Chubb for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to sign a running back. I just don't know who. I mean, I didn't put Amir Abdullah on there, but there's probably a chance he might come back, which would bother me too much. But
Nick Chubb has some like. He's one of the best pure runners I've seen in a long time, man. I just feel like that doesn't go away. Is just that ability to, maybe the long speed's not there anymore, but that's why I want to leave the draft class with 2 young beasts. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I have Chubb. Gloveless running back. I love it. Yeah.
But in my opinion, like Jordan Mason, like I said, somebody said Emmanuel Wilson. I think you more would take chances on those guys, maybe like J.K. Dobbins, who are young. And like I said, they don't have a lot of tread on their tires, right? I mean, Jordan Mason, he did get hurt last year, but he was playing pretty well. And like if you draft a running back and that guy's not, he's has to adjust the NFL, right? And maybe he's just not a superstar right away. You got Jordan Mason. He's young. I think he's only like 24, 25 or something like that.
Yeah, there's some interesting guys too. Rico Dowdle, I thought had a good year. He was asked to do way too much in the Cowboys. Yeah. He's a free agent. I think you getting him like in space, like Chip Kelly scheming up some like plays in space for him, I think would be really interesting. And then Kareem Hunt's also a guy. I mean, look, he didn't have the greatest year for the Chiefs. He might be kind of towards the end, but Jeremy McNichols seemed to have found a little life in Washington under Cliff Kingsbury. And again, after that, we're really getting down to the bottom of the barrel. But there's a few guys that I would take a flyer on. I mean, some of these guys just need a change of scenery. But yeah, Jeff Wilson will be a guy too. He has that long speed, and people will always give him a chance. Maybe the Raiders bring him in. Amir Abdullah might be worth bringing back too. Nobody's talking about that. He had a really nice end of the year last year, and people are saying, I don't know if Mark Davis will hire Kareem Hunt. Yeah, I mean, he drafted a wide receiver that crashed into the woman and killed her. So, I mean, nobody's perfect. I don't know. Yeah. It's a long time ago. These things This Kareem Hunt thing was a long time ago, and
Yeah.
he's just people say like we wouldn't bring in these guys. We have no idea if that's the case.
Yeah. It was just barren at the position. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not great.
People saying Mozart, like, Mozart was. I thought about putting him on here, but he's like 33 or something like shit like that.
Well, and also I think this running back free agent class, because of the draft class, I don't think it's going to move at all until after the draft. I think there's going to be a couple signings. I think there's going to be like, honestly, if I was being real, I think Nick Chubb's going to be like a Chief next year, just on a 1-year deal. Or a Raven, or like some weird Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry backfield, and they're going to do something weird, maybe even a Charger or something. The team that was in the playoffs last year. I think this running back class is going to they're going to wait till after the draft for a lot of these guys to get signed, just because I think this running back class in the draft, people are going to want to get their crack at that first before free agency.
Yeah, for sure.
I know. I wanted James Conner too. I see in the chat. James Conner was my guy all year. I was like, I need James Conner as a Raider next year, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, the Cardinals were like, no. All right, let's get to wide receiver, which I thought was. I didn't know who to. I had no idea. This was harder than when I started doing this. I was like, oh my god, this free agent class is ass. That's really. I didn't know who else to put for wide receiver. I'm like, wow, the Raiders are really gonna have to.
Oh, I got one. I got a deep cut that I like.
Who do you got? Because I just don't know who.
What do you think of Darius Slayton?
I like Slayton, but like
no, but I mean, what's his market? I mean, I just think he's a good deep threat. He's never had a quarterback. Yeah, do we have one? Not really. But let's say they sign Sam Darnold, and you want to get a guy that can get down the field. I like Darius Slayton. And I think his market's not going to be like that crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're talking about like Chris Godwin, injured all the time. Great player when he's on the field, kind of just a slot only guy, right? Too. So I don't know. I feel like we can manufacture that. Stephon Diggs, I don't know. Everywhere he goes, he's like, when teams get rid of him, they all of a sudden are really good. So that's weird. Tyler Boyd, thanks. Elijah Moore, no, these are slot guys. And Amari Cooper, I've never seen a guy look less like the guy the Raiders drafted in my life. He looks unrecognizable. I couldn't pick him out of a line, of guys dressed up in a uniform. I forget when he's on the Bills. I'm like, who is that? And it's Amari Cooper. It's insane. He got kind of beefy.
Yeah.
What happened?
See, the thing is, Amari Cooper is still get open. Elijah Morris, he's a slot guy, but he can get open.
It is good.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how Tyler Boyd played last year. There's just nobody else to pick. And same thing with Stephon. I'm like, maybe they sign Stephon Diggs. I mean, I don't know. Cardi B might show up he's dating Cardi B now, so maybe Cardi B will come to some Raiders games. But I don't know. I was like, man, Jacoby Myers might get paid. That's what I was thinking when I saw this.
Hey, I've been banging the table for an extension for Jacoby Myers. What has he done to not get an extension? He's been fantastic. Dave Ziegler brought in some good free agents to this team.
Josh Palmer is Josh Palmer like good? Like, no, I mean, Yami Brown has, you know what I mean? Like, it's just nobody's getting excited. Oh, the Raiders signed Yami Brown. Like, nobody's getting excited about that.
One guy I would like to see is I think Demarcus Robinson's a good player. I know he was a Raider a while back, but he makes big play. He makes big plays, man. Like I like him.
That would be a sneaky good one. That'd be a sneaky good one.
I bring Mac Hollins back too. I've always liked Mac Hollins.
People are saying that.
Yeah, I've always liked that. I go just down and down the list. Like, you have Chip Kelly. Do you take a look at a Rondale Moore? You know what I mean? Coming off an injury.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, do you think about that with Chip Kelly?
I like his 2023 film. I really did like Rondale Moore's 2023 film.
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I mean, the Falcons really needed him to be a part of their team, and he just wasn't. And he just got hurt, and it was unfortunate. But I'd like to. To me, this is why I can't get mad at them taking McMillan at 6. Like if they say they sign Sam Darnold, right, and the quarterback is just for at least a couple of years, that's going to be their quarterback. If you take McMillan at 6, I can't blame you, because who the hell else are you bringing in? And you can make a basketball team on offense of McMillan, Bowers, Mayer, these big guys. that wouldn't bother me. Because this free agent class is just not, nobody that they sign is going to be like, whoa. No, there's always a chance for a trade. But I don't know.
So isn't Hollywood Brown a free agent? I'm like, I mean, yeah, but like,
sure, yeah. I guess he is in theory. Yeah, I like him. I did like him, but he's just the guy just got another bad injury. It's. But DeMarcus Robinson's a guy. He just with the Rams, he's made a lot of big plays for them. And so he's somebody I keep. Keenan Allen kind of like is a Jacoby Myers that doesn't block to me. So I'm like, that's not a guy I would bring in. Deontay Johnson, I don't know what happened with him with the Ravens, but
Deontay Johnson's a menace. Like, no.
I kind of stay away from that one there. Noah Brown was on the Commanders last year and didn't do anything. Like there's the guys I'm talking about are guys you're like bringing in on a low contract high, like see what happens. Nick Westbrook, Akina, these guys are not guys anyone's going to get real excited about. So, like I said, if they take McMillan at six, I will not be mad because I get it. There's nothing else.
Yeah. What about trading for DK Metcalf or Debo?
Another reason I'm not a massive DK Metcalf fan. Like there's definitely, he does a couple things really well. Would look sick in a Raider uniform too, and has kind of that nasty mentality that you want for the Raiders. I would get it if they did. I think he would be probably a 3rd or 4th round pick, and you take his contract on. I would guess. I don't think it's a very high pick. And I would do it. Debo is hurt all the time. You're buying Debo like past his prime. Anybody that takes Debo Samuel on right now is basically buying a car that the guy who sold it to you is laughing when he sells it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Debo Samuel's. He can't beat press coverage anyway, so.
That's what I mean. He's very good at, and he's losing his speed. Remember when he like wouldn't play running back, and it's like, that's kind of what we like to do with you, dude. Yeah.
Hey, that's the best thing you're good at, bro.
Yeah.
But anyways,
trying to help you, sir. Yeah.
All right, let's get to guard. This is actually a good group, though. This is actually the best group in free agency here that I have for the Raiders. So you got Trey Smith, Mekhi Becton, Will Freeze, Tevin Jenkins. And I added Will Hernandez because I think Will Hernandez is a solid player. He's only 29. So what are your thoughts on this group?
Good class. Like I said, I would add Kevin Dotson in there too. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of him. He's coming off the Rams. Really helped them run the ball last year, and I think he's a free agent. I'm just looking right now. But yeah, I think he's in there. Yeah, I think he's a free agent. And then there's a lot of good players in this class. I mean, you even have Brandon Scherf. Trey Smith is probably going to be a $20 million guard.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot. He's a very good guard. But
I think Becton's going to get a lot of money too.
Becton's going to get a lot because all it was just he became dominant the minute he switched positions, which the talent's always been there. I remember his rookie year, him getting beat around the edge by Cleveland Ferrell and being like, oh, what happened? But as a guard, he's a beast. Tevin Jenkins, yeah. I mean, I'd love to give. I know Parham's your guy, but I'd like to light a fire under him a little bit because, to me, I think I have a feeling, unfortunately, Andre James is the center for the Raiders next year, just with his
Don't say that.
The Chip Kelly familiarity. I just think it's going to happen. Jackson Powers-Johnson. But the thing is, I prefer Jackson Powers-Johnson at left guard. I think he's a dominant left guard. So I would like him at center, but to not have James, but I actually like him at guard. So I would just bring in a nasty road grader right guard. I don't mind Tevin Jenkins either. All 5 of these. I don't. Why do I keep getting asked about Brock Bowers and Fuaga?
Fuaga sucked this year too. Fuaga sucked.
What are you asking me to regret Brock Bowers, dude? I'm about to get a tattoo. I got an appointment like next week, dude. What? Dude. First off, I'll say this right now. You ever see that clip of John Gruden? Did you just criticize Brock Bowers? That clip? Don't ever criticize Brock Bowers in front of me. Guys, do not criticize Brock Bowers in the chat. It's a chat rule. Okay?
Yeah. God, Family, and Raiders Life said James is getting released post Tuesday first. I mean, he keeps talking about T Higgins, man. You're ruining the show because that's my dog. So we're not getting him. So I just want to tell you that I'm fucking with you though, but.
I'm just saying, man. Yeah. I'm just saying. Yeah.
You're ruining my mood, bro. But you keep bringing up T Higgins. But with this class, though, I think the Raiders could really land somebody. I think Tevin Jenkins is a good player, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a really good player. An angry guy that I like. I loved Tevin Jenkins when he came out. Trey Smith is not a good pass protector, as we all saw.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, you're like, I just watched your whole, I just watched you get your ass kicked in the Super Bowl. I'm going to pay you $20 million.
And we're gonna go over the guy that was kicking his ass in a second. So but he's a great run blocker. So right. Trey Smith is a good player, but like if you're going for overall best player here is Tevin Jenkins. If they sign Tevin Jenkins, I would feel really good, or wherever they put him at the guard position. But it all depends because you're right. If they keep Andre James, then he's probably going to play center, and then JPJ's guard, and it all depends on what they feel about Parham, right?
But
if they get rid of James and they move JPJ inside, then they're gonna need a guard, right? They're gonna need one. So that's what's kind of funky about the guard position. It 100% all depends on Andre James. So.
Yeah, and like you said, Jordan Meredith, we didn't really talk about him on the free agency thing. Jordan Meredith is a guy I definitely bring back on a team-friendly deal. I think you're going to be competing against yourself on that one. And I bring him in just to have his depth because I think this offensive line, we'll see what they do at right tackle, see if they like DJ Glaze, but I think they will. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. People talk about why not let Meredith get this your first shot? I mean, maybe they do. You know what I mean? Like it all depends. But
he played well. I mean, he played really well. So I
thought he did too. I thought he played really well too. I thought he played pretty well. All right, let's get defense. Let's get the defense. Let's start inside. Defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. Which I mean, defense is really better on free agency. I mean, this defense isn't great, but offense is god awful. So. Defense tackle, we're getting better here. So Milton Williams, DJ Jones, Poona Ford, Javon Kinlaw, Jerron Reed. I couldn't find a nose tackle that was not 38. So I think that position is kind of is dying out anyways. Uh-huh. So like getting you a big fat guy that's kind of dying out. So, but this group. I think there's a lot of good guys that I really like in this group. What are your thoughts?
It's a good group. I definitely it's kind of why I like Kenneth Grant in the draft a lot. I mean, he's like 338 or something. So it's like he is just big as hell. So it's and I feel like he can play. I think he's damn good. I think Mason Graham's getting attention, rightfully so. But Kenneth Grant in the second round is one of those guys I'm ready to sprint the card in for. But Poona Ford's not bad because Poona Ford's a big fat guy and he could play. He had a hell of a year for the Chargers last year. And Pete Carroll's got some familiarity with him. And Kinlaw is another guy, too. If you don't bring back Adam Butler, Kinlaw is one of those guys that got drafted high, and everybody's like, oh, bust. But one time he had a squirrel in his mouth. Just I don't know if anyone's seen that video where he just had a squirrel in his mouth talking to Grant Cohn for the Niners. I like him, man. He's a dog, man. I think he's a good underrated player. He's a guy, you could probably bring in on a lower cost deal. Greg Gaines is another guy you think this is just if Adam Butler leads. Greg Gaines, Folorunso Fatakasi, other BJ Hill is another guy from the Bengals.
Yeah, BJ Hill's a good one.
Yeah, BJ Hill's he's a big dude too. So Levi Muzarike, there's guys out there for sure. Definitely would like to. It just depends on what they do with Adam Butler here. Poona Ford's a guy you can bring in regardless of what you do with Adam Butler, though.
I want Poona Ford.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because he's a Seattle guy. He was drafted by Pete Carroll. Jerron Reed is a sneaky. I put Jerron Reed on here because I think the Raiders are going to sign him just because he's like a veteran and he's going to know the system. He might not even play. He might not even be like a full-time starter type player. But he's like the guy that comes in and teaches the DTs, right? He takes a young DT and brings them up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Puna Ford is the guy I want. Milton Williams is a dream. Williams can't play the run for his life, but the Eagles didn't care. He could rush the passer, but he can't play the run.
God, I loved him in college. I wanted him so bad for the Raiders in the draft.
He couldn't play the run back.
Yeah, he slipped because he couldn't play the run. But damn, I was like, man, his pass rush tape was a beast, man.
And he's like a freak. He's a freak.
Why are people keep bringing up Eddie Vanderdoes, man? Like, if people keep bringing up Eddie Vanderdoes, I haven't heard that name in years, man.
Yeah.
UCLA, man, UCLA.
Yeah, but I do like. I mean, Milton Williams. I mean, you bring him. But see, the thing is, why Milton Williams wouldn't be a fix? Like, you have Christian Wilkins already. Like, I mean, he's younger, but I'd rather draft Mason Graham, in my opinion. DJ Jones is a sneaky one for me because I think DJ Jones he is like a guy that is just a monster. Like, he's going to play till he's like 35 because he's a monster. He's kind of like more that new age nose guard, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he could replace John Jenkins. You could bring in DJ Jones and on like first down and second down with Christian Wilkins because Christian Wilkins is great against the run. You mix it in with DJ Jones. That is, that's what you like. Same thing with Puna Ford. You mix it in with Christian Wilkins on first and second down.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for teams, especially and then mix in with Max Crosby. It's going to be hard for teams to run the football. So I that's why I like DJ Jones and Puna Ford.
Yeah.
Those two guys that
I think you're right. We need just a space eater really bad. Because like I said, we're getting monster. And we're getting Christian Wilkins back. That's just something like I keep forgetting about. Like I keep forgetting that Christian Wilkins is coming back to the Raiders next year, and that's a big addition. Getting back, I think they know that the people, Spytek and Carroll. So get a big space eater to where those guys can do what they do best. And like you said, Max Crosby is the best edge against the run in the league. So it's just no. It's gonna be tough to run on them, and you're gonna play Jim Harbaugh, who likes to run the football. So, and Sean Payton's gonna want to run the ball a little bit with Bo Nix too, and Kansas City moves low key to kind of that style offense too. It's gonna be paper cut teams that want to paper cut you, in the run game, and then you're gonna need your corners to tackle. So go get that big nose tackle.
Yeah, somebody mentioned Calais Campbell. I mean.
He's going to want to try to go ring chase, unfortunately. And I love Calais Campbell, Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Beast. He's going to want to go chase a ring. I could see him being a Detroit Lion or something.
Yeah, I agree. All right, linebacker, which I did like this linebacker. I tried to find the youngest linebackers because I just don't like signing old linebackers.
No, me neither.
I'm going to keep it real with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like old linebackers. I think there's just too many young linebackers in the NFL for you to go sign an old guy. I mean, because Bobby Wagner, maybe he might be, but him and Pete Carroll had a bad ending. So, he's still mad at Pete Carroll for letting him go in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But, the Drake Greenlaw, Zach Bond, Nick Bolton, Malik Harrison is a sneaky one for me because I thought he played really well when some of the Ravens players got hurt. And then Tyrell Dodson is a good linebacker as well. So what are your thoughts on this group?
To me, Greenlaw and Bolton shoot for the stars if you have the money. Those two guys. I think Greenlaw, he came off that Achilles, but it was weird, right? He came off the Achilles running onto the field to go play ball. He had Travis Kelce in prison in that Super Bowl. Obviously, getting hurt in the Super Bowl really hampers your whole next year, especially when it's an Achilles. He still came back in. I remember watching a game. He came back in later in the year, and the Niners defense just all of a sudden was a stalwart. Like, you just couldn't run on them or anything. So Greenlaw and Bolton, to me. Bond, I just don't see. I think Philly's going to find a way to keep him. But man, he played his ass off. I liked him coming out of Wisconsin for sure in the draft. But to me, it's Bolton or Greenlaw. And that's to me is why I just do I have to have Spillane? I feel like the team wants to keep him, but I'm like, do I have to have him? I think Bolton and Greenlaw are better than him.
So, Nick Bolton is great against the run. He's fantastic against the run. He's a great run linebacker. Coverage, iffy a little bit. And MEZBX keeps talking about Jermaine Sherwood.
Jamie and Sherwood. Yeah.
Jamie and Sherwood, but I'm gonna look him up in a second. But Zach Bond, you're right. Dre Greenlaw, he's coming off the injury, but I mean, you could take a chance on him and see what he can do. My sneaky one's Malik Harrison, because I think you can get Malik Harrison for like $3 million or like some $5 million, and I think he could come in and reach his potential with you, and you kind of get a steal there. Yeah. So I really did like him when I saw him on film a couple times. I really did like him. But yeah, these are the top guys in there, but maybe they look somewhere else, but he's kind of the top guy. So
you know who you can't sleep on with Pete Carroll loving the athleticism and the range? Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, I saw that.
You can't sleep on him. I'm not sure how I feel. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I just mean him. EJ Speed is another guy. I think definitely. Shaq Thompson, another guy, 31. Again, you're getting a little older there. Jerome Baker's another guy on the Titans. You know, I always liked him. Jerome Baker when I think he was Dolphins, right, for a while. And it would be interesting. I think they're gonna. I think this is Willie Gay is a free agent. I thought he was fantastic on Kansas City. I don't know what he did for the Saints last year. But I liked him a lot. He's 27. That's somebody I would look at. He's in that kind of Malik Harrison tier of what you're of what you were talking about. Cody Barton is another guy too. I thought he was pretty sneaky good for the Broncos last year. Kind of a decent free agent linebacker class now that I'm looking at it. It's not bad. People are bringing up in the chat Kaiser White, too. 29-year-old could play outside, replace Divine Diablo. It's definitely an upgrade. An upgrade. So that's something to think about too. I actually, to be honest, I didn't realize that the free agent linebacker class was as good as it was.
Yeah, look at this, Jamie and Sherwood. He's got some pretty good PFF grades.
He could play. Mm-hmm.
I just think it's crazy. He's 216. It's like, I don't know.
That's the thing is I think they're gonna want Patrick Graham and Pete Carroll. You're gonna want these. That's why I actually think they're gonna sign Isaiah Simmons. I don't know. Like now that I think about it, I'm like he's big, strong, and fast. Interesting.
Yeah. Sherwood is skinny. I mean, he obviously could play the running. Like one game, like 15 tackles. He obviously could do it. So
Pete Carroll drafted Cody Barton though. Interesting.
Interesting. What is the elephant in the room?
Is that the Brock Bowers thing? Fuaga sucks, dude. Brock Bowers is the GOAT, dude. I don't understand what it is. Like, if you're a Raider fan and you're mad about Brock Bowers and you want to right tackle, you're out of your mind.
Fuaga sucked last year.
We got DJ Glaze is better than Fuaga. We won the draft last year.
Fuaga sucked last year too.
It's the Saints. You're talking about one of the worst franchises right now.
All right. Corners. This is the last one. So I cheated on this one a little bit. I went and looked at these guys' length and arms for most of these guys. So these are all the guys with 32-inch arms, except Paulson and Debo. But Shaquille Griffin's a sneaky one.
Yeah.
Because he played with Pete Carroll before.
Yeah.
I think Shaquille Griffin.
One arm is really long. One arm is really long.
Well, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about arm length, you bring up Shaquille Griffin.
Anyways, Shaquille Griffin's a good player. I mean, I think they signed Byron Murphy. Once I saw his arm length, I'm like, oh, they're signing him. Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he got tagged by the Minnesota already?
That's what the people are saying. Yeah.
When did that happen? Like when I must have happened when I was doing that.
I didn't see it. Yeah, he got tagged. Damn, that's a crazy. Because what is the tag for a corner?
The tag for the corner is $20 million.
That's good for Byron Murphy. My lord, because we weren't paying him $20 million a year if we were signing him.
That must have happened while we were doing this like 3 days ago. Really?
Interesting.
Yeah. Then why is he still on the thing?
Yeah, T. Higgins was on it on the over the cap thing still too. I don't think they've updated the franchise tags. I think you have to actually sign your franchise tag too. So for you to actually remember, because there's always those like Le'Veon Bell situations where they don't sign it. Yeah.
No, so Vikings push back Byron Murphy's contract void date can no longer use franchise tag.
Oh, fake
See,
news.
Vikings will not be able to tag cornerback Byron Murphy.
Fake news.
Can't tag him. So I think they sign him because he has like 30 almost 33-inch arms or some shit like that.
Yeah, and he was playing true man. He was playing the hardest corner position ever in a Brian Flores defense last year, where like you're on an island because everybody's blitzing and stuff. And I think he fits way more into what like the Pete Carroll Raiders want to do.
Yeah, I think Byron Murphy. This is interesting. The DB coach from the Saints, Adebo, Pulse Adebo.
Yeah,
I always like Pulse Adebo's film.
Beast.
I like
Stanford.
Him.
I loved him at Stanford. I watched him play in person a couple times at Stanford. Beast.
Yeah, yeah. I think Carlton Davis too. I wouldn't mind that. But I think they bring in like a veteran like Shaquille Griffin. They might, and like I said, I think they go after Byron Murphy or somebody like that. I really do. I feel like they really get to go after Byron Murphy.
Yeah, and I just, Charvarius Ward, I see where his head's at, and he's obviously going to want to keep playing. These guys, things like that happen a lot of times. You want to just keep doing what you do to take your mind off stuff. I think Charvarius Ward's in for a nice. I don't even think he was bad last year, to be honest, and I think he's a guy I take a look at.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the corners, I think they're gonna probably go to some different guys I didn't even have on here. So, but I really do like the cornerback class for this free agency. But rest of it is just complete ass to me. I wasn't very excited, to be honest.
People want to give the Jeff Okudah flyer. Man, what a bust that guy was! Wow, 3rd overall.
See, Okudah's why I personally don't trust Big Ten corners, but
that's crazy, man. He was such a lock for everybody, like Jeff Okudah.
Yeah, but the Michigan corners are different. I mean, Michigan corners usually are pretty good, but like
play well. Mike Sammer still had a.
I mean, Denzel Ward too, so it's like it's hard.
Yeah, no, it happens. Like there's plenty of exceptions to the rule.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because even Big Ten wide receivers, because everybody talks about Marvin Harrison this year. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he was like all dominant in the Big Ten. He comes in the NFL like, oh,
yeah. And you have Olave, Smith and Jigba. They're good players.
Yeah. That's true. All right. I don't see any more questions here, so I don't know. You got any last thoughts here, Glenn?
No,
I got one. Jack Jones on the team next year.
I think so. I actually think he gets through. I do. I think he gets through. I think he's able to take the ball away. We saw it a couple times. Like I just don't think he's earned a starting job, and there's no leverage for Jack Jones to ask for a trade. You ask for a trade, you go, okay, well, what do you want? You've already burned your bridge with one team. You're gonna burn your bridge with another team? No, you keep him and you just say, look, you're not stopping us from making any moves at the position. But if somebody goes down, I don't hate that Jack Jones is starting at corner. Like you keep him. It's depth.
Yeah. I don't mind keeping him either. All right, guys. Well, I don't see any other questions in here. So
trolling chat. The chat was trolling tonight. I guess they're saying it's me. It's me. I guess. I don't know. People are trying that. Look, I understand. Somebody was like, "Oh, Fuaga. I would love to have Fuaga." It's like I would love for you to never ever be a GM or ever have decisions on draft personnel because he was given other draft takes and I threw them in the trash because you wanted Fuaga over Brock Bowers. We have a Hall of Famer. Even PFF was talking about it. They said Brock Bowers. If I were to pick a Hall of Famer from the last draft, it's Brock Bowers, and that's correct.
100%.
That's correct. We have a stud on this team, and I was happy from the moment he became a Raider. So, look, hell yeah.
I'll give you these last two questions. Any sleepers in free agency? Kind of over that.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, there's always going to be sleepers, right? I mean, like, what if the Raiders go sign Mo Alley Cox and they're like, whoa, and then he has like 8 touchdowns this year. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of. There's the linebacker class is interesting to me. There's actually a little bit more than I thought was there. So Anthony Walker, Kamal Grugier Hill, like there's some good players there.
Any surprise cuts, and then we'll get out of here.
Surprise cuts. Gosh, I mean,
Derek Carr.
Oh, around the NFL? Yeah. Well, Carr's cap hit is crazy if they cut him, and that's a team that can't afford to cut him. Yeah, I don't know. It's I honestly can't think of anything right now.
Yeah. I got you, Dre, for sure. I'm gonna watch Khalil Mullins. I got you.
Yeah,
got
you better, or else. Yeah.
I got you, Dre. All right, guys, we're out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. We went over free agency, get a little deep dive. It's kind of a weak class, but we'll see what the Raiders do and what they spend money at. So really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, all the draft episodes we got, they're everywhere, guys. You guys just go check those out, join the memberships, and hit the subscribe button, subscribe, and we're out of here. Peace.